Tonight, our region is on the road to recovery after the devastating impact from Hurricane Helene.
Everything we own is gone, and it's devastating up there.
It'll take us at least a year to get this debris removed, and it'll take us 5 years to get all of our infrastructure back and going.
Hundreds of people across Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia are still looking for help after catastrophic flooding destroyed roads, houses, and lives.
We literally jumped up and grabbed our animals and left. We got up to the high side of the road, and within maybe an hour, our whole house was underwater.
They sat me down and said, your husband's gone. And I was like, oh, and I said, please find him. He doesn't like to be dirty. He's in that dirty water. Please find him. I need my husband.
Tonight, we sit down with those leading the charge in recovery efforts to learn more about what lies ahead in the aftermath of the historically devastating storm.
Hope after Helene, a flooding recovery town hall.
Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Casey Marler. Tonight, we are joined by those who are leading the charge in the recovery efforts around the region.
Yeah, throughout this evening, we'll be answering your questions about the recovery process in the Tri-Cities region in the wake of Hurricane Helene. You can submit a question you would like asked live on the air by calling the number you see on your screen.
That number, 888-903-9545.
And we have people on standby ready to field your questions.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel will be there to relay that information to our guests.
Yes, we're here in the kitchen ready to take your calls. We have county leaders, we have federal leaders, we even have some local state leaders here as well, ready to answer any questions that you may have. No matter how big or how small, we want to get you the help that you need.
Ansley, thanks. And some of the primary government groups assisting in relief efforts include the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Small Business Administration.
Nancy Dragani from FEMA and Chastity Reed from the Small Business Administration join us in studio as we begin this town hall, bringing you information, more importantly, opening up the phone lines for your questions.
Yes. First of all, let's just get into it. And Nancy, where does the recovery process stand at this point? We know it's slow. We know it's going to be a marathon.
It is a marathon. I will tell you right now, we have about 300 folks in Tennessee from all over the country who've come to support Tennessee and our local governments with the recovery efforts. We expect more every day, so we're continuing to see folks come in to support this. Our first focus is really on people and those individuals and households who have been damaged by this really catastrophic flooding that northeastern Tennessee saw. So while we have public assistance, which is government assistance that will come and is coming now, we're really focused right now on helping people get into safe housing, sanitary housing, begin that recovery process.
Chastity Reed is from the Small Business Administration. Chastity, talk about some of the work that's being done, and you're really more than just small business when you talk about the recovery effort.
Yes, SBA also help the homeowners and renters as well. We know when they hear about SBA, they only think of businesses, but we are a little bit more than that. We can help with their real estate property and as well as any business proceeds that they have as well. So we have the economic injury program and the homeowners program, so that way they can exercise anything that they need.
Nancy, this question is for you. Why was the emergency disaster declaration made when it was, and what's the criteria for that?
So the process is the federal government supports state government and responses executed by local government. And we talk about that. So the governor of any given state requests of the president a federal disaster declaration. And once the governor requests, it then goes up to the president and the White House, and the president makes the final determination. So that's the process.
Okay.
Starts with the governor, goes to the president. Once he declares, then FEMA steps in.
And Chastity, how do people reach out to the SBA? How do they find out if they qualify? How do they begin to get benefits from your organization?
So we have individuals on ground. We have them in our our Small Business Administration disaster centers and business recovery centers. So those CSO, those customer representatives, can take your application in person if you need to speak to someone. And we also have it where you can call our online, where it's 1-800-659-2955 number to speak with someone. And you can also go online through our portal and put in your application as well.
This process, people are still just in disbelief that it's happened. You know, a lot of people, their homes are mostly, if not just totally not there anymore from the flooding. They're trying to take the steps after the shock has worn off. We're like, okay, now we've got to take the steps in order to get some relief from FEMA, from the SBA. What is one piece of advice you would give people? What is the first thing they should do?
The very first thing I would say from a FEMA perspective is register. Apply for assistance. Don't assume you're not eligible. Please don't assume that if you register, you're taking money away from a neighbor or a family member or a friend. We have enough money to be able to support the residents who've been impacted in Tennessee, as well as those across the impact area, the disaster area. So I would tell them to call that 1-800 number, and it is 1-800-621-3362. They can go on disasterassistance.gov if they've got a computer. They can download an app and register from an app from their smartphone, or they can go into one of the facilities that we have around the area. Tennessee is operating in concert with the county mayors, multi-agency resource centers. We have folks who are in those resource centers, and then we also have what we call disaster recovery centers, and those are available for individuals to go to as well.
For those, sorry, one more question.
Yeah,
I'm
no
sorry,
problem.
For Nancy. People who are insured, homeowners insurance, that kind of a thing. We have been told that people need to contact them first before FEMA. What are your thoughts on that? What should people do according to you seeing it as a FEMA representative?
There is no requirement that they contact their insurance companies first. Okay. It's a good idea to do that, because then you know what coverage you have and what you might be eligible for from a benefit from home insurance. We are going to ask at some point, if people have insurance, what that insurance coverage is, because we can't duplicate that benefit. So if they've gotten money from their insurance company for alternate living expenses, for instance, then they might not be eligible for the same kind of benefit from FEMA.
Okay. This question is for both of you. We've been near these sites. We've watched families and individuals walk up, and they're certainly full of sadness and a little bit of fear. What's your advice to take the first step? Every family I watch approach a representative kind of has that same look in their eye. They're not alone, are they? What advice would you give them to just do it and come visit one of you or your organizations?
Yeah,
they're definitely not alone. I would say that the full force of the federal government, the people that I work with around the nation, are laser focused on Tennessee and the other impacted states. If they have questions, we're reaching out on almost a daily basis with the county mayors in Tennessee. They have information. The County Emergency Management Agency has information. I think what stymies people and prevents them sometimes from asking for help is that fear and that lack of understanding. Please ask someone. Call the FEMA hotline. Talk to your county administration or your mayor. Don't wait in fear of something happening. Find out the truth.
And same as FEMA, and as with us, we know a lot of people do not want loans. We understand that, so we encourage you to go through FEMA for the grant money, but we also want you to apply with SBA, so that way you know that you know all of your options. So we know when you go on to check out for your health, you get a second observation, so why not do it for the home and the business that supports and keep your family together? So we haven't been through your situation, but we are here to help you as much as possible, and we want to assist in every way possible. So yeah, just come in the centers, ask questions, don't be scared. Just know all your options before you make a final decision.
It was relatively rewarding when I was out at one of the sites, and you see the families walk up and they have that kind of trepidation, but when they leave, they have a little bit of hope, and that's really what your organizations are all about. They realize they do have a team on their side.
That is true. true. Really quickly, before we go to some of the phone questions, I need to address the elephant in the room, especially with FEMA. Some misinformation out there that FEMA is taking supplies away from people. There have been confrontations, even in our area, people confronting FEMA workers. Can you tell us, just lay it out, let us know, is FEMA taking the supplies that other people are gathering, and just maybe dispel some misinformation that people have?
I can do that very quickly and clearly.
Okay.
No, FEMA is not taking any supplies. We're not running donations management centers. That's something that happens at the local level, at the state level. And in fact, there's an amazing one just north in Bristol at the Bristol Speedway that is being managed by local government and the Bristol Speedway and donations management. I think you're going to hear from one of those organizations that's doing an amazing job up there later on. So the quick and short answer is no. We are not taking property. We're not authorized or legally allowed to take anyone's property, and we're not taking any donations away from anyone.
All right.
Let's head over to Ansley Daniel, who is near the phone bank. A lot of questions. We hear the phones ringing really ever since we started, right, Ansley?
Yes, the phones are going off. As you can see, look at the stack of paper that I already have. Each paper does represent a question from a viewer. I'd like to get through a couple of them pretty quick, though. This one is from Katie. She's in Jonesboro. It says that she applied for FEMA over the phone. Her power was out for 9 days, and they lost all of their food. How can she get her food back?
So FEMA has some programs that may be available based on the application. And the first one I would talk about that might be an option for this individual is once they have applied, there is a $770 serious needs program that can support things like food, gas, if you've lost prescription medication, you need diapers, and so that might be eligible for this person. I can't comment on an individual because I don't know the situation, and every individual household is different. But those programs are out there. The first thing people have to do is apply, because until they apply, they're not eligible for any of it.
The worst people they can get is a no.
Exactly.
So it's best just to apply.
Just apply.
Ansley, let's take another one.
Yeah, this next question is from Jerry Poole. He's in Hampton. He says that he has received a FEMA settlement, but he received $8,500. But he told us that his property value is around $170,000 to $180,000. Can you explain why he did not receive that full amount? And he also wants to know why there weren't any relief efforts there in that specific area of Hampton.
So I can't address why there weren't relief areas in Hampton because, again, that wouldn't be something FEMA would necessarily come in and do. But I can address what appears to be a discrepancy between his property value and what FEMA has given him for a settlement. The first thing I would tell this gentleman to do is if you have questions and you feel like you should have gotten more, then I would apply, put in for an appeal. It may be that we need additional information, for instance, and so would certainly encourage people to do that. But the other thing I have to say, and this is hard to hear, FEMA is not an insurance program. We're not set up to replace the entire amount of property lost. We're set up to give people a start on their road to recovery. If we look at an entire maximum grant, it's only about $42,000 for property, for housing loss, housing repair. Well, $42,000 is generally not going to replace a house.
Right.
It's going to get somebody on the road to recovery. There are other grant programs that are available for lost property like washer, dryer, refrigerator, clothing, furniture. That's a different pot. None of it is going to make people whole. Unfortunately, that's not FEMA's process.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for being here. We are going to we might bring you back up a little bit later in our program, but thank you. Some great questions, great answers to our questions tonight. Now, there are several ways you can take advantage of resources offered by FEMA. FEMA offers disaster relief assistance. You can apply for that on disasterassistance.gov. You can download the FEMA app as well. You can also call to get connected to resources. That phone number, 888-621-3362, or you can visit one of the disaster recovery centers in the region. And you can find those locations on FEMA.gov/DRC.
The Small Business Administration offers relief assistance as well. The SBA has options for businesses, nonprofits, along with renters and homeowners. There are disaster loans, business physical disaster loans, and economic injury disaster loans available to those in the most impacted areas. Those are low interest loans that have a grace period before payment is due. We will continue our Hope After Helene Town Hall after the break. We will be speaking with leaders from Carter and Unicoi County. That and much more. We continue to answer your questions. Give us a call. You see the number on your screen, 888-903-9545.
At Zach's Home, our hearts go out to the families and communities in East Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia who have been affected by the devastating floods. For 54 years, we've been proud to call Johnson City our home, and we know that recovery is not just about rebuilding homes, but also about rebuilding lives. So just know, we're here to support you. Together, we can rise above the waters and find the hope in tomorrow. Zach's Home, your neighbor, your family, your community.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night, but with Ballad Health Medical Associates Virtual Urgent Care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual Urgent Care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
Hey there! CBS Thursdays are my favorite. Unexpected, exciting, and with 4 must-watch shows. First up, it's Georgie and Mandy's first marriage.
Welcome to the Cooper residence.
Then there's Ghosts, a house full of spirits. Sounds scary, but they make it look fun. Ooh, and Matlock. She's the kind of lawyer I'd want. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And then there's Elsbeth. That's me. This is so exciting. CBS Thursdays. Gosh, that's good TV. It all starts tonight at 8, 7 Central on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Pro-level performance at work and at home. Right now, save $50 on the BGA 57 battery blower. Real steel. Find yours.
At the Greenhouse, we understand the importance of crafting beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces. Serving the region since 2018, we take great pride in providing the best selection of quality plants, home, and garden products. Need guidance with landscape designs? We're here to help. Don't forget to stop into our curated shop filled with houseplants, unique gifts, and home goods. Come to the Greenhouse in downtown Greenville today. We're just a short drive away.
Things are heating up at Pizza Plus. Enjoy any large specialty pizza for just $17.99 all month long. That's any large specialty pizza for only $17.99. Let Pizza Plus show you the honey with the new Hot Honey Drizzle on any of your favorite pizzas. This hot deal and many more available. Call or order online at your favorite Pizza Plus. Like them on Facebook, and for more information, go to pizzaplusinc.com.
Hope After Helene, a flooding recovery town hall.
Welcome back as we continue our Hope After Helene Town Hall. We are addressing your concerns about recovery efforts across the region in the wake of the storm.
Right now, we have with us Mayors Patty Woodby and Garland Evely from Carter County and Unicoi County, respectively, with their county EMA directors, Billy Harrell and Jimmy Irwin, as we talk about the recovery efforts in Unicoi and Carter County. First of all, welcome, and thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
We know it's been a long process already, and it's been, what, less than 3 weeks, and we still have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
But that's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're trying to help everybody involved. So, Patty, why don't you start and just let us know how things are going, the process is going in Carter County.
Carter County is stabilized. We still have a long road to go. I consider us moving into what I'm wanting to call the heal and rebuild phase. We've removed from the recovery phase and the emergency phase. Carter County's been blessed with 0 fatalities, and all of our citizens have been accounted for. So that's been one of our biggest blessings. And so now the process starts to begin to rebuild, get all of the funding and all the needs met through FEMA, learning those processes because we've never done this before. So it's for the leadership in my office and for the citizens, we're all learning about FEMA and TEMA and what they need to do. And so we are still there. We still have communities that do not have power. We do not have water, and still some seclusion where we're having to use ATVs and UTVs to make access to those. It's a slow process, and it's going to take several months, years to really rebuild our communities.
Jimmy, same question. Unicoi County has really been the epicenter of this tragedy. Where are things now and moving forward?
We've come a long ways in the last 3 weeks. We've kind of moved into recovery state with our industrial park just totally devastated. Our hospital just all to pieces. Communities come together with more support. The neighboring states have come together and help us. Our communities come together as one, and we're moving forward to make Unicoi County better. And 2, learning from FEMA, learning from all the government agencies what we can do to build our city and our county back the best possible way.
Mayor Evely, you've had to not only endure destruction of industrial parks, things like that, also deaths in your county. It's been, I'm sure, very difficult for you, your staff, and everybody you've talked with. Tell us a little bit about what people are saying to you as you are trying to lead the county through this process.
Well, a lot of the people you know, we were in survivor mode 3 weeks ago, and we've come a long way. Like Jimmy said, it's very unfortunate that we had loss of life in our county. Several residents there that were working in our industrial park. We had search and rescue people from all over the state of Tennessee trying to locate remains for those people. We've accounted for all of them but one. I think we had 5 deaths that were in the county, and you know, it's just it's going so quickly. It's like I was telling Patty, sometimes I wonder what day of the week it is.
Sure.
But people are very resilient. We have received help from outside our county, donations. We receive so many clothing, food that you know, it's just been a blessing. All the surrounding people, surrounding counties, and people from everywhere outside the state donating to our people, and we will come back strong. In 3 weeks, we've accomplished a lot. Jimmy's accomplished a lot with his management of what's been going on, and I'm just thankful for where we are right now, but we've got a long road ahead of us.
Ansley Daniels at the phone bank, and she has been monitoring some of the questions coming in, so we'll send it over to you, Ansley, as we continue to get more questions from viewers on where we go from here.
Yeah, lots of questions coming in right now, and I just want to make it clear that if you have a question that we can't get to in this special, don't worry. That's why we're taking down your information. We're going to get it to the respective party that can answer that and then get you the answer that you need. This question is from Tyler. He's in Roan Mountain. He wants to know why there weren't any more plans in place or more preparedness since there was knowledge of the storm and the predicted rainfall.
Yeah, I can answer that. When we first heard the weather was coming, we did go ahead and put in a plan with our volunteer fire department in Roan Mountain to have a standby shelter, someplace where people could go if they needed to go. We worked with Roan Mountain Volunteer Fire Department very closely. We also worked with Hampton Volunteer Fire Department very closely. I talked to both of those fire chiefs and did go ahead and give them a heads up if we did have to. At that time, we was mostly concerned about the wind, the 55-mile-an-hour wind, more than the rain that we knew that was coming in, because we was more concerned at that time about the power that we're going to be losing due to the damaged trees. But we did have those two on standby.
All right, Ansley, another question from our viewers.
All right, this one is from Samantha in Irwin. She wants to know, are you going to fix the road between Irwin and Jonesboro along the river?
I've spoke with TDOT. That is going to be on the calendar for them to get done. Their primary thing is to get I-26 open back up to get the traffic out of downtown Irwin. And they've got some bridges they've got to rebuild. We hope to have I-26 open at the exit 40 by 1st of December. And then after that, they'll get the schedule, and it may be a year or two, but they are looking at rebuilding Highway 81.
Before we go back to Ansley, real quick, elaborate on roads and infrastructure. Both counties, that's one specific road, the River Road between Jonesboro and Irwin, Interstate 26. Overall, how are we looking, and where are we at in the process to get money, funding, and people in here to rebuild those roads?
Most of the county roads, I spoke to the road superintendent today, has been opened back up. A lot of are damaged, very severely damaged, and it's going to take a lot of work to get those back to what they used to be. The state route you were talking about is in the plans. The interstate, it has a lot to do with commerce, and so that's been given a lot of attention there. And so we're looking. Just a tremendous amount. We lost our Chestoa Bridge. That was one of the 2 bridges we had to the south end of the county. That will take a substantial amount of time to engineer and to rebuild that bridge, but the plan is that that bridge will go back in also, and a substantial amount of money. As far as getting into money, the governor and our senators were in our county about a week ago. They pledged all their support to the county. We've already received some good news from the state that about some interest-free loans that we can tap into those funds for infrastructure needs that we have. And so right now we're in that phase as far as Unicoi County.
Okay. And in Carter County?
Carter County, all of our county roads are open and cleared. Now, they're still not in very good shape. There's a lot of broken pavement, and we're having to replace that pavement with gravel. We're still asking citizens to exercise and be careful. There's still a lot of concern with those roads. A lot of concern about how to get the kids back to school in some parts of our area, because school buses cannot run on these top roads, and they cannot run on temporary bridges, which that is some of the areas we've had to put temporary bridges in place to be able to access the communities, to at least get medical needs in and out, and to let the citizens get in and out. But as far as funding, as Mayor Evely said, the governor and his cabinet have been working closely with us. They know the needs. They know that these rural counties cannot upfront the funds, that any county that would try to do this would be in financial despair. So they are working with us. It's just going to be a long road. Right now in Carter County, we've got a rough estimate of damages that's to the county, which is roads, bridges, infrastructure, schools. Right now we're close to $180 million. And that's still a rough estimate for Carter County, and that's still going to climb. We've right now got $8 million in debris. So those numbers are just beyond anything we've ever seen, and beyond a county budget that could flood the funds for that. Yeah. So, and I know the governor knows that. He and I spoke about it. He's spoken with Mayor Evely about it. He understands that our rural counties could not upfront those funds, and we will have to have tranches of money coming into our county for infrastructure, for debris, for wastewater treatment, and all the things that we're going to need. So, but while we'll say he's been great, the senators have been great. Senator Blackburn, Senator Haggerty have been consistently in touch with us. If it's not by phone call, they've been in Carter County. They've walked the grounds with us. They've been boots on the ground, and I'm super proud of the state government working with the local government the way they have, considering nobody was prepared for this.
That's true.
And Representative Harshbarger's office have been in close contact almost on a daily basis with us also.
That's helpful. Let's go to another question from Ansley from our phones.
All right, this question is from Brianna in Unicoi. She says, I lost my job. How do I apply for a job? I worked at Impact Plastics and I need help with expenses.
We have services set up at the Army National Guard on South Main Avenue that they can come to. We've got SBA in there, we've got FEMA in there, we got the Job Alliance in there helping people get jobs, find jobs. We also have unemployment in there that can help them apply for unemployment and get some income.
Love to hear those phones ringing. Love to hear your questions. Let's go back to Ansley. What else do you have for us?
All right, this one is from Tina. She's in Irwin, and she wants to know, if the hospital is rebuilt, will it be in a new location?
At this time, they have put a brick and mortar urgent care 24 hours a day at the location where Chad Capps' physical therapy was, which was an old site for urgent care, and they are running 24 hours a day with the employees from the hospital that were displaced because of the flood.
We want to thank all of you for taking time out of your overly busy schedule in your communities to visit, answer questions from the public, and we just wish you the best of luck and thank you for your tireless effort the last 3 weeks as we begin the rebuilding process of our community.
Thank you for having us.
And you can see some of the places that you can go look for help in Unicoi County. FEMA opened the Disaster Recovery Center this week.
And in Unicoi County, FEMA opened a disaster recovery center as well. That's to assist people suffering, obviously, from losses from Helene. That's in the National Guard Armory. Unicoi Emergency Operations Center at 615 South Main Avenue from 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday, from noon to 5 on Sunday.
I think if you take one message from this broadcast and town hall, help is there. Simply reach out, take the first step, and someone within our community will lead you in the right direction for whatever first step you need to take. You see the phone number, there's a first step you can take. Call our hotline right now, 888-903-9545. We continue to take your questions. Hope After Helene, a town hall here on News Channel 11 and ABC Tri-Cities.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night, but with Ballad Health Medical Associates Virtual Urgent Care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual Urgent Care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
At Zach's Home, our hearts go out to the families and communities in East Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia who have been affected by the devastating floods. For 54 years, we've been proud to call Johnson City our home. And we know that recovery is not just about rebuilding homes, but also about rebuilding lives. So just know, we're here to support you. Together, we can rise above the waters and find the hope in tomorrow. Zach's Home. Your neighbor, your family, your community.
Get more for your trade than ever before. Then save thousands on a new Honda with 1.9% financing. All Hondas are in stock and ready for you with financing from 1.9%. Search a local Honda dealer today.
As the fall air rolls in, it's time to get your heating system ready for the cold temperatures. Let Climate Controllers help. Don't wait until winter arrives. Schedule your fall maintenance with Climate Controllers now to ensure your system runs efficiently when you need it most. By preparing now, you can avoid unexpected breakdowns and costly repairs when temperatures drop. Locally owned and operated, we've proudly served East Tennessee for over 25 years with top-notch service and York products. Don't wait for the cold. Call Climate Controllers today to schedule your fall maintenance. We're here to keep you comfortable season after season.
For the last 49 years, Steve Huff Plumbing has built a reputation of being your go-to company for all your plumbing service and repair. To further serve your home maintenance needs, we're now offering residential heating and air services. You will receive the same exceptional quality of workmanship and service you have come to expect from Steve Huff. For all your plumbing, heating, and air needs, call Steve Huff Plumbing, Heating, and Air at 239-8361. Better, faster, cleaner.
This is the time to trade into a new Honda. Save thousands with 1.9% financing. All Hondas are in stock, including gas, hybrid, and electric vehicles. From 1.9, search a local Honda dealer today.
It's the great people of the Tri-Cities that make a difference for the better in our community. From first responders to medical professionals to local volunteers. Tune in every Wednesday at 7 on News Channel 11 and 7:30 on ABC Tri-Cities as we honor those heroes and showcase their stories. If you know a deserving community hero, nominate them now on WJHL.com. Just click on Community Heroes under the Community tab.
Nominate a community hero today. Hope After Helene, a flooding recovery town hall.
Welcome back to Hope After Helene. Some of the communities that sustained the most damage from the storm were located along the Nolichucky River.
Yeah, that included communities in Washington County, Tennessee, and Greene County.
However, the damage was not exclusive to the state of Tennessee. Parts of Southwest Virginia also sustained heavy damage as well.
Yeah, we are now joined by the Washington County, Tennessee Mayor and EMA Director Joe Grandy and Evan Clyburn,
as well as Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison, along with Washington County, Virginia Administrator Jason Berry. First of all, thank you all for joining us tonight as we continue to get as much information to as many people as possible as we continue the recovery effort.
What we'll do first is we'll just kind of go down the line and tell us a little bit about your particular county and how the process is going as far as recovery.
Well, there's a lot of activity. So tomorrow will be the 3-week mark, and 21 days into this thing. And so in Washington County, the Nolichucky Valley covers about 15 miles of terrain. And, you know, in that space, 119 homes were completely swept away, nothing left of them. And 100 more had serious damage. So, you know, the work to help those people recover and get them hooked up with the government plans and other agencies who are anxious to come in here and help is ongoing. And so there's really a lot to do. So we've been actively cleaning up debris. The first plan was to go through there and get debris off of the right-of-ways along the roads, open up the roads, clear the silt, and just sort of dig out, really. And so in week 3 now, we are actually seeing homes that were damaged severely being demolished, and that debris moving out to the right-of-way so we can pick it up. Government can't go on private property and do work. So it's a little frustrating to see people needing help and they're just out of reach, but they have to get the debris to the roadside. And in order to help protect our landfill, we have asked folks to separate it. So household goods like washer dryers and that sort of thing need to go in one pile. And construction debris needs to be separated so we can burn all that we can burn and incinerate it so we're not filling up our landfills.
Jason, Southwest Virginia, Washington County, significant damage in parts of that area. Where are you at in the recovery process?
We started the long-term recovery process today, actually, and got a committee together looking at fundraising for all the things we need for the major business interruption in Damascus. Every business in downtown Damascus was flooded. We know of at least 20 homes that were destroyed, 19 trestles on the Creeper Trail completely destroyed, which is the economy of Damascus. And Route 58 to Mountain City from Washington County, 1.6 miles completely gone. So a lot of devastation, a lot of business interruption. We'll be cutting checks tomorrow for small businesses in Damascus to help start the recovery there. And then we already raised over $1.6 million to help out with infrastructure, small business. So the long-term recovery started now. Fortunately, no loss of life. All water, power is back to Damascus, Taylor's Valley, and Green Cove.
And Kevin, you know, we spoke a couple of weeks ago. Water was the #1 issue. Where's the process at now with water, infrastructure, schools, as you continue the process?
Well, Greene County, each one of these counties were uniquely affected, I guess. In Greene County, it was the fact that the water pumping station with Greenville Water Commission was destroyed, leaving 74,000 people roughly without water. 15,000 people plunged into darkness. It was a gigantic task. Within about a period of about 5 to 7 days, the county was back in the water business with most of our customers restored with water service, about nearly all customers back in power. With the collapse of the 107 Irwin Bridge, that made it very difficult logistically for one of our utility districts, Chucky Utility Districts, to service the southwestern corridor of Greene County and the south central area of Washington County. That's a lot of their customers there. We've since got that rectified with a little help from West Wilson County Utilities that's actually drilled a 14-inch hole underneath the river to put temporary power or temporary water service over there. So that process is going very well. Now we've moved into the recovery phase with debris disposal, sort of very similar to all of our neighbors. Massive amounts of debris to try to clean up, and particularly with a sense of urgency before the next flood comes, so that the debris that's still in the river doesn't wind up next to the bridges that we have repaired. So that's where Greene County is. We have 100% of our customers in utility, water, and power, and we're moving forward as a group. So we come to understand and know that nobody's going to take care of us better than us.
That's right. Evan, we'll get to you in just a moment. EMA Director in Washington County. Ansley, phone's ringing off the hook. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so Karen from Johnson City and Larry from Greenville have a similar question. They want to know if people are still being actively searched for, those that are still missing. They want to know if people are still missing and if they're being looked for.
So I can answer that one. You know, we're still looking for Mr. Cloyd and Mrs. Tucker. Those are two of our missing residents. We brought in a lot of specialized equipment to search debris piles. Those debris piles are still there. So as waters have receded, we've gained access to other areas. All those areas that were searched are being researched again. We exhausted a lot of local resources. We're still continuing to bring in outside resources. We were actively searching for those people literally about an hour before I came in the studio. We were out on the area down there with the cadaver dog team and several specialized equipment in conjunction with the National Guard that are assisting with those. So those people are still actively being looked for.
Describe how all of the groups, whether it be federal, state, local, counties working together, I'll open it up for just about any of you, and the teamwork and communication that goes into this kind of massive distance in the recovery effort.
Well, in Virginia, FEMA opens its first DRC in Washington County. We were able to partner with shopping center owners to partner to open up storefronts that are vacant to get them there. But all the levels of federal, state, and local government came together, worked together, and neighbors helping neighbors. That's the way it happened.
Right.
I mean, the first contractors that came in volunteered to clean debris, to help homes, muck out homes. So really, all the neighbors were successful for us in Washington County.
Yeah, I would say the same thing here. The very first day, we had contractors showing up, but Saturday morning after the storm, we had no access across the river. All of the accesses were closed and broken, and so contractors were in there, you know, building roads, cutting trees, you know, making a path so that we could get in there to help these people. But in the meantime, the folks over there along 107 and in that entire river valley just rallied around themselves, and they are amazingly resilient people. We had super cooperation with Bright Ridge Power. They were on the scene immediately to try to restore power over there, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And really within a couple of days had power in there, and Jonesboro, who's our primary water provider in that part of the county, was right on the spot, and we were able to rescue the pipe that went under the river and begin to build back power, ultimately connecting to the Chucky system, which having two utilities working that close together, that was really unique and special.
Sure.
And that side of the teamwork
it really
that's
was.
going on, it really is a microcosm of this entire last 3 weeks. Let's go to Ansley. Still have time for one more question.
All right, well, this is from our friend Ron in Mountain City, but it actually pertains a little bit to our friends from Virginia. When will 91 from Damascus to Mountain City be open?
Well, 91 was closed last night for repairs. It was closed again this morning. It was open back this afternoon, but there's a major hole on the right side of 91 on the Tennessee side where it fell in. But the people that live in Taylor's Valley in Washington County have to go into Tennessee to come back into the mountain in Washington County. So we're hoping very soon, maybe tomorrow, but it's been an open and closed situation for the last couple of days.
We did invite representatives from Johnson County, obviously very busy there right now. They were unable to make it. A team of officials invited as well. They were unable to make it. So we are thankful for you for taking all your time. We know you're very busy and getting as much information as you can to our citizens during this difficult time. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Casey.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
At Zach's Home, our hearts go out to the families and communities in East Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia who have been affected by the devastating floods. For 54 years, we've been proud to call Johnson City our home, and we know that recovery is not just about rebuilding homes, but also about rebuilding lives. So just know, we're here to support you. Together, we can rise above the waters and find the hope in tomorrow. Zach's Home, your neighbor, your family, your community.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night, but with Ballad Health Medical Associates virtual urgent care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual urgent care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
Hey, Bob, I have great news. We now accept all insurance companies. It doesn't matter what you have, we accept it. We're in network with all of them, Bob.
I know, my insurance company sent me to Sound Hearing Center and they said don't go anywhere else.
I remember that, Bob, because remember I fit you with this nice waterproof hearing aid?
You did it again.
I did it again. We offer the best technology, the best service at the best price. Shop and compare. Why pay more?
Hi, I'm Brad Austin, attorney at Wolf Williams in Austin. Joe Wolf's been representing coal miners and disabled folks for over 45 years. Our team of attorneys have over 200 years of combined legal experience. Navigating federal black lung, Social Security, or workers' compensation can be a long and difficult process. Let us help.
Wolf Williams in Austin, attorneys at law. Call 276-325-1660.
Are you or a loved one in need of short-term rehab or long-term health care? At Irwin Healthcare Center, we understand everyone is different, so we offer compassionate care tailored to your needs. Our in-house therapists are caring and consistent, offering physical, occupational, and speech therapy, and our service is exceptional. We have new leadership in new rooms, but the same focus, building relationships inside and outside our center. Irwin Healthcare Center. Expect the extraordinary.
Presto's best-kept secret is back in business. The Cave is open and ready to serve you mouth-watering pizza, calzones, Italian sandwiches, salads, and more. Check out the huge 2-foot Cave sandwich. They also have a 10-inch gluten-free pizza and the coldest beer in town. Draft, bottles, pitchers, buckets, and seltzer cans are available. Stop by and enjoy indoor or outdoor seating. Plus, carryout is always available. The Cave is now open Wednesday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Hope after Helene, a flooding recovery town hall.
So many people helping, a lot of government agencies, including the Federal Emergency Management Agency, assisting in recovery efforts all around our region.
Yeah, another federal resource that we have at our disposal right now, the Small Business Administration, working to provide relief to those who suffered losses from Helene. Nancy Dragani back with us, along with Chastity Reed from the Small Business Administration. Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around for us. And I know the phones, since we went on the air, have continued to ring with questions from our viewers. So we'll send it over right now to the phone bank. Ansley Daniel standing by. What are folks wanting to know, Ansley?
All right, well, this question is from Rhonda. She says that she lives on the Nolichucky in Bristol. She says her application shows as eligible. Does that mean I've been approved? And if so, how long until the funding is received?
Great question.
So once her application shows as eligible, one of the things that will happen fairly rapidly is a housing inspector will reach out to her and schedule an appointment to come and take a look at her property. If she's a homeowner, that may be a different process. In fact, the housing inspectors will come to homeowners. If she's a renter, that won't be the process. But I want to assure people that the housing inspectors will call ahead. They will schedule an appointment. They will not just show up, and they will have your application number. That's the next thing that will happen.
Okay. Let's go to another question from Ansley.
All right, this question is from Marshall, who lives in Kingsport. He wants to know, are the amounts of settlements taxable? And if so, do you have to pay taxes at any point?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will get that back. I don't want to give incorrect information
Sure.
out, and I want to make sure that I'm accurate.
No problem.
I want to involve Chastity real quick. We mentioned some of the different types of loans. Describe some of the resources that you provide, really the amount, small to big, and some of the services that they can look for from the SBA.
And so we offer the homeowners and renters at a low interest rate of 2.813%, and that covers the real estate, the personal property, and that also includes your primary residence and your primary vehicle. And for the businesses, they also cover for the real estate, which is, and also their equipment within their business. And they also have available for businesses the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which is the working capital to help the business recover any revenue that they would have lost from the hurricane or a storm, whichever the disaster is.
I think a lot of people don't realize what the SBA offers. It's, you know, like you said earlier, you think, okay, Small Business Association if it's a business, but it's so much more than that. And I think if people have any questions as to whether they qualify for any of those things, can they just call and find out? Would that be the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can call to get information as far as before you apply to know what, you know, any disaster information that you have had. Now, but we also want you to go online to put in your application to see. You will also, if you have a business, you will need your IRS tax documents. So that way, you know, so we can see that you're eligible to pay back the loans and see what you have lost from the previous years. So, but we go online and apply, or either go to a physical center and speak with those people who can actually give you more information.
You just look.
Yeah, we have SBA representatives all around the region right now. Let's head over to Ansley Daniel. Let's get one more question in this segment, Ansley.
All right, this question is from Jack. He lives on 107 in Greene County. He says he wants to know why distribution is at Bristol Motor Speedway and not in the affected areas.
So the Bristol Motor Speedway is a collection site where donations are coming from across the country, and I know the folks that are coordinating that, and we're going to, I think, hear from them next, are then working with local distribution points to push those donated items and needed items out.
Places like Cherry Grove Baptist Church near 107, Fender's Farm near 107, those are those sites within the affected area. So it goes to Bristol Motor Speedway, gets distributed close to the disaster zone, and that's where folks can pick it up. Yep. So a well-oiled machine we have now 3 weeks in.
That's true. The Speedway has the real estate to hold everything.
And communication and a helicopter pad and a medical facility, everything we need during this time.
Yeah. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back with more questions. Stay with us.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night, but with Ballad Health Medical Associates Virtual Urgent Care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual Urgent Care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
At Zach's Home, our hearts go out to the families and communities in East Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia who have been affected by the devastating floods. For 54 years, we've been proud to call Johnson City our home. And we know that recovery is not just about rebuilding homes, but also about rebuilding lives. So just know, we're here to support you. Together, we can rise above the waters and find the hope in tomorrow. Zach's Home. Your neighbor, your family, your community.
You ever just have one of those days?
You do have a lot going on.
I'm fine.
You just lost your dad. You got a brand new baby, an unemployed wife. You got no money.
Okay.
Lots of guys struggle with emotional stuff.
What do you do?
Eating healthy and exercise.
Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage.
To Mandy, Georgie, and their new home.
Premieres CBS tonight, 8/7 Central, and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Nevada, one of the most diverse and independent states in the country, with a Senate seat up for grabs. Tonight, Democrat Jackie Rosen fights for re-election against Republican Sam Brown. It could be the race that tips the balance of power in the Senate, and it's a debate you'll see exclusively on News Nation.
There's plenty to talk about, and we'll continue it here at News Nation.
Debate Night in America, tonight, 10/9 Central, only on News Nation. News for all America.
If you haven't seen Rug & Home lately, you haven't seen Rug & Home. All the designers, hidden gems, unique to each store, new discounts every day, our lowest markdowns, final sales, different in every store. Find yours before it's gone. You won't find these prices online. This sale is in store only. You never know what you might find. Asheville, Raleigh, Charlotte, Greenville, Atlanta, new discounts every day. In stores only. The treasure hunt is on. You never know what you might find. Rug & Home.
The wait is over. High school football is here. They've trained for this. They're ready. Are you?
Touchdown Friday night. Sponsored by these local businesses. Hope after Helene. A flooding recovery town hall.
The United Way is contributing to flood relief efforts in our community in a big way.
Yeah, the United Way of the East Tennessee Highlands established the Hurricane Helene Disaster Relief Fund. 100% of the donations to that disaster relief fund go to community nonprofits. We have Leslie Dalton and Abraham McIntyre from the United Way with us now with more on those efforts the last 3 weeks.
Yes, we've helped raise a lot of money. We haven't done it all, but a lot of money has been raised so far for disaster relief. Tell us really quickly, so far, where that money has gone and how it's being used.
So far, the money is going to focus on stability. So we have donated to nonprofits who are working within making sure people are safe in their homes, making sure they have food, water, they have the medication they need, and that they have that shelter that they need.
Wonderful.
Ansley Daniels standing by at our phone bank. Ansley, I know we're getting some questions for the United Way.
Yes, of course, lots of questions coming in. This one is from Sharon. She's in Unicoi. She says, how can I apply for United Way funding?
Great question. That is a great question. So our funding does go directly to nonprofits. And so what we can do is point her in the direction of those nonprofits that are providing direct service. So they have the capability of taking those applications and speaking with people and being able to get that money out quickly to those people that need it.
So a call to the United Way can get them, point them in the right direction where they need to go. Perfect.
Abraham, talk about the money coming in, and you've already distributed some of that funding, and when can we expect another distribution?
So we're looking at that. That's a great question for Leslie. I have honestly been
put you on the spot.
More focused on the volunteer side of pieces. So we've really split our responsibilities in that way. And so I've been leading the efforts with the Volunteer United site, and that's been out of Bristol Motor Speedway. But we're setting up volunteer reception centers in all the 5 counties that the 5 counties have been affected. And so really there's a lot of volunteers that are going on already without our coordination, to be honest, and that's the neighbors helping neighbors. But then we're helping upset the long-term recovery efforts with the volunteers. But yeah, Leslie, want to answer that?
To respond to your question, Casey, we got a lot of school systems going back right now, and so these kids are going to be in school, and there's going to be a lot of needs that are going to come up. So our next round of funding was just approved by the board this morning, and a lot of that's going to go into our school system so that families and kids can get those necessary things that they need. So just be looking out for more information on that. But this next focus is going to be a lot on our children that have been affected.
All right. Any questions? They can call the United Way and get pointed in the right direction, because there's so many resources under the United Way umbrella, which is good. Do we have time for another question? One more? One more. Okay, let's do one more question, Ansley.
All right, this question is from Cheryl. She lives in Piney Flats. She wants to know what's been done for mental health concerns and issues from the flooding and maybe even into the future afterwards.
That's a great question. Frontier Health has been working closely with us on that. And the best thing if people need that help is to call 988. Okay. 988 is that mental health hotline. Anybody can call that and get direct help, or call Frontier Health and get that help.
Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Now, if you would like to help in recovery efforts. It's so easy. The United Way does have an individual needs request for each county. Survivors are able to submit information on what they need to ensure proper donations get filled. There's also a volunteer link where you can sign up to assist in recovery efforts as well.
Thanks for staying with us this evening for our Hope After Helene Town Hall.
If you missed anything tonight, you can go back and watch our broadcast in full. It's going to be on WJHL.com. And I know that it seems like we've scratched the surface on this. We could talk about this for hours and hours, but we wanted to update everybody on specific counties and how things are going and the direction that they're going in.
I want to thank our friends from the United Way, thank our friends from across the region, our leaders who took time out of their busy schedules to come visit and answer questions from the public. Obviously, we are just getting started with what will be a long recovery process. We mentioned it throughout the hour. Really, just take that first step. If you need help, it's out there. Everybody willing to help you out.
That's right. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.